happens when the road gets rough? Join Counsellor Debby as she takes you through a time out with couples, families, friends concerning the heart of the matter.
I believe that every story matters and every heart deserves to be heard. Let's take a time out and discover the heart of the matter with Counsellor Debby.
Starting on ZAT every Saturday, 8 a.m. For adverts and sponsorship, please contact 026 381 6967. Thank you.
Hello, good morning everyone out there. Happy weekend. Good to be live here on ZAR TV again this Saturday morning. It's that time we have to get together again, start learning, relearning and unlearning. And today promises, as it has always been, a very promising, exciting, transformative, educative session. I'm so sure we are going to be so blessed to learn so many things today. But I think it's that time now you have to pick up your phone, begin to call your friends, like I say, your neighbors, your colleagues, your families, everyone that is so dear to you that needs to be on the right track in their union, in their relationship and association with friends and families and colleagues, because we need to keep learning. And I think I want to give out a free online counseling session to those who have been committed. I have some people that have always been commenting and contributing. So this is a tip for the gifts for anyone that needs an online counseling. We have run through this Timeout with Counsellor Debby for 2 months today exactly. I would like anyone to inbox on the number we have placed on the screen. If you can tell me any of the guests, their name that have been on board and what you have learned from the past sessions. So whatever area you need counseling, in your marriage, in career, I'm sure you can have a free gift to receive online counseling from us this morning. And secondly, we also need adverts and sponsorship for this program for us to remain on air. This has been so transformative. It's been saving lives and saving relationships, but we also need to be able to put up of what is demanded so that we can keep being on air. So if you know any organization or any company that might want to advertise their products or their services, please let them also send in their contact to us. We could always reach out to them. With me in the studio this morning is our own very Dr. Napoleon Bissam. He had been here before and we started on a session which is conflict resolution in marriage. And today, because of what is eating people up, we feel this is our own quarter. We can contribute to the society and our community to be able to help heal and restructure some marriages so that peace and joy can reign in their home again. Please, viewers out there, join me as I welcome with me in the studio Dr. Sam Napoleon this morning. Good morning, Doc.
Good morning. How are you, Counsellor Debby?
Thank you so much for making our time again. Hey, Doc is a very busy person, always traveling here and there. But today we have to just eat him as no, you have to come and finish what we started.
Of course.
Because the last session was so, was so great. I think my take personally, one of the things I can remember that actually struck me from that last session we had was, I think I asked a question. I said, okay, there's this one of my clients that's always been saying, and she's always been the one to, to always want to create peace and ensure that the home is, and the husband is not always forthcoming. And I remember your response verbatim. He said they are peace givers, and I think they are peace takers.
Then we have the peace makers and the peace dwellers.
Dwellers. So that meant so much. So if you are the peace takers, right? Peacemakers, and you take it, and if he's not rejecting it, and there's peace in the home, I think that's your strength. Don't relent, just keep at it. So for those of you that was not part of that last session, that's one of the take that we got. So this morning we are going to be bombarding Doc again with some series of questions. We might be doing some reflection of some of the last questions also. So with me are some of these questions that love to ask you. And number one here on my list is, what are some common causes of conflict in marriage, and how can we address them?
Thank you, Counsellor Debby. Let me take this opportunity to welcome all our well-wishers and those who are watching us. We are so grateful. And I think that this is a learning ground and we all need to learn.
Yes.
Now, the question you have asked, the common causes of conflict. In fact, we have a range of them. And you can talk about the finances that poses a challenge in marriage. You can talk about maybe lack of intimacy, even poor communication. But let me stress on a point that is eating us up as always the unrealistic expectations that we always want to have in our marriages. And when we say unrealistic, what exactly are we looking at? You see, couples may come from different backgrounds.
Right.
And so what you may be used to might not be used to me. So when I come and all your take is to stress for what you want, it becomes a problem because I may not be able to cope. So if you come to marriage and per where you grew up, are you okay? And there's a situation of you being pampered, you knowing how to even lay table for your husband, and you get to marry somebody who is not of such, your expectation might not meet his or hers. And for that matter, if indeed that is what you are stretching for, it may bring conflicts. So, of course, with such situation, that's why we, as counselor, we emphasize more of what we call the knowing ourselves and then knowing your partner. So when you do that, it's able to unravel that issue of unrealistic expectation. Then another one is external pressure. So aside that, these are the things I think that we need to hammer them. You see, sometimes friends can cause conflict in our marriages.
You're right.
And again, even the families, everybody is fighting for his interest in their marriage. The woman's parents, the husbands, everybody is fighting for a position. Are you okay? So in this case, for us to be able to resolve, I think that the most important thing is for us to set boundaries.
Wow.
And when we do that, it will go a long way in helping remedy the issue of conflict in our marriage.
Wow.
So these two things I think is very important. Not that those are not important. I've talked about poor communication. I've talked about finances. They are also important because they can cause, if you are in a marriage and the finances are not coming, you are unable to meet your demands, it becomes problematic. And if you don't take time, that alone can cause some conflict in marriage. So in other words, I think that we need to be more focused in our attempt of resolving this issue. And for that matter, the most stressing aspect is the unrealistic expectation. People are expecting too much when your husband cannot give, but you still want to. You cannot get it. So I think that is what we need to look at. I think so.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think it brought up to the point that a lot of people are over-expectant.
Yes.
Over-expectant. Your husband is not a god in quotes. And actually, we are to help one another, knowing full well that we have all come from different backgrounds. We have different values, beliefs, and expectations, like Doc said. We also have to look at, the poor communication. Sometimes we want something, but the way we relate it, it's not healthy, which causes chaos and uproar in the house. And I'm sure there's no one that doesn't love peace, no matter how learned or unlearned, influential, rich or poor that you are. Everyone wants this peace of mind because it's something that is non-negotiable, and we must be able to work at it. And also, I know some of the things that causes conflict marriage is intimacy issues, especially when one partner is not giving more attention And like, what a woman wants is different from what a man wants. The man, they want this is what they want, and this is what the woman wants. So I think, like what Doc also said, understanding yourself personally will be able to help you to be able to understand your partner. And that's why we emphasize on, especially understanding your personality. If you understand your personality, then it will really help you. Not even your spouse. If you have children, I tell you, if you have 3 children, hey, you have 3 different personalities in the house. And the way you are dealing with A is different from the way you have to deal with B. So that's why we must be learned to be able to go for knowledge. Let's learn, let's read, let's study, and let's reach out to counselors that can help us to be able to, make all the wrong right. So secondly, we also like to ask Doc, how can we resolve conflict in a way that strengthens our relationship rather than damaging it? Because there are some people that are into union, that actually, it's their desire to actually strengthen their home. But before you know it, everything skyrockets and, everything comes to a ditch.
Yeah, you see, this resolving this conflict, one, you should understand that this has put there what we call scars in your body when there's conflict. And for that matter, it may be easier for it to be bruised than maybe starting a new cut. So in that sense, as far as you are concerned, or marriage is concerned, or the couple is concerned, I think one of the major things we need to look out for is, one, to take a decision that I'm not going to allow my marriage to be a conflict zone. You take that decision. So when you have a decision or a target, you always aim to get it.
That's right.
Now, when you take the decision, it doesn't end there. What you ought to do is to try as much as possible to discover the very thing that can ignite this conflict.
The triggers.
Yes, trigger the conflicts.
Wow.
Because sometimes we get it wrong. Even, I have said it again, even birthday can result in conflict in marriage.
Hey, seriously?
Oh, yes.
Can you give us instance?
Oh, yes.
So that our viewers can...
One, if you don't, maybe you have a partner who is so poised in celebrating birthday, you don't remember, it becomes a problem.
That's right.
Again, if even when your birthday comes, and maybe the partner you are with is that one who doesn't want to entertain certain relationships that you have gone in before. And imagine such person sends you messages. I'll give you a nice message, and this gets to the glare of your woman. So that birthday you thought or you think that it should be a happiest moment could be a conflict zone.
Wow.
Could be a conflict zone. And for that matter, if that is where the conflict is coming from, why don't you do something about it? Discovery is very important. In all our, so as you said, as you dwell in that marriage, your focus will be, what are the things that are triggered? What are the things that are triggered?
I think it says that we should focus on our common ground.
Grounds.
Wow.
And so sometimes, even when you discover, it doesn't end there, because I have discovered.
So what do I do with
because
it?
the message will always come.
Yes.
You need to be determined to cut it. In other bread, we say nip it. Don't let it fly. Cut it. If it's about the messages, cut it. During the birthday message, block.
So we need to learn how to compromise.
Block it for the sake of the family, for the sake of the marriage or the union. It's very important. So that is why in our as counselors, there is these 3 Ds I've mentioned. You need to decide, you need to discover, and you need to be determined to resolve it.
Decide, discover, and determine. So 3 Ds. That's a special take for us.
Yes. When you do that, you are able to handle it amicably without a problem. And again, I would still stress on it that as we understand what we call early intervention, that has been our tool. We counselors, we always tell you people that things that may resurrect or escalate, if you know that maybe there is something, a behavior your partner is putting up, it has never happened before, and he just or she just start to develop it. You have nothing to do than to pin it, than to intervene. That's what we call early intervention.
Early intervention.
Talk about it before it escalates.
So if the partner too is not willing to let go of that, because sometimes when you're trying to present, this thing I'm not appreciating what you are doing. I don't like this particular habit, and that person, the other partner, it might actually not really get done on him. It might be, there are some people they are so careful.
You are right. Yes. You see, everything in this world must have a solution. If you are not resolving, you must manage.
Okay.
If you are not resolving, you must manage. Now, the question you've asked boils down to the fact that we ourselves, we don't know ourselves. And again, we don't know our partners. Now, this behavior you are talking about, somebody who is I don't care, can fall within maybe a category of a trait, maybe somebody who is melancholic. Are you okay?
Yeah.
It's I don't care. So it's a trait. Something that is either inherently, naturally. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Or maybe something that he has inculcated right from his upbringing. Are you okay? So if you don't really learn of such behavior, it will become difficult to handle it. You always scratch it. But anytime you know of something, when it happens, you don't become surprised. But you try to mitigate, accommodate. Yes, accommodate it. And that is very important. We need to look at that. And as far as I'm concerned, we, the counselors, we have a role to play in such situation. We need to really help them identify who they are. Sometimes they themselves are finding it difficult to identify. I always say that for you to identify who you are, your parent can't help you. Because when you start as a kid,
they were there.
They were there. And again, there are certain behavior that you identify even as a kid. Are you okay? There are children, when they have something they don't want to give to you. When you are taking it, they will cry.
Yes.
Are you okay?
Yes.
If not for the sake of maybe being childish, or maybe we expect that they have not grown. And that is a character born inside. He will grow up and find out that this person will not give whatever he has. Well, he will not share. You get it? So when you know that, then you work at it. So I am happy you are saying that some people are adamant. And sometimes it's not their making. Sometimes. But we as the couple, as you said, we need to learn. But ask yourself, how many of us would learn? It's becoming difficult. Would even go and say, I want to go for a marriage seminar, marriage program. Once we marry, that's all. That's all. We don't do anything extra. But even as for the Bible will say, seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. And that is exactly what we need to, tram home about. That when you marry, you have not finished.
You have not finished.
It's a journey.
It's a journey.
You need to go through the journey.
Wow. I think Doc just peeped into my heart and knew what I was going to say. This is not even part of my question. But this is just a head up to what he was saying as he was talking that came to my mind. A lot of us, like is there a Sigmund Freud that talks about psychodynamic in one of the is one of the theorists in the psychology. And some of the things that we do now, they are actually from our subconscious mind, something we grew with. And I think, just like Doc has said, life is all about seeking knowledge and learning. If you have grown up in a background or in a family that this is what is obtainable, and if you feel that this thing is something that is not healthy, I think there is no crime in shaving it off and being able to, let go so that you can have healthy relationships. I also this is not part of my question, but how can we help people seek counseling? Because I don't even think, it's just rare people that know that there is need for counseling. And in fact, there was one time I was actually advocating, I think when this popular singer in Nigeria died. This lady, Osinachi.
Oh, yes.
In
yes,
fact, I
yes,
was
yes.
advocating on my social media that I think it's high time counselors are everywhere. In our mosque, in the church, in our place of work, in the school, in organization. We need certified counselors. Even Christians, they will be having issues in their home. They will go to their pastor, who is not a counselor. And the pastor will just pray for them and say it is well. And these people go back home, do the same thing, face the same issue. And before you know it, there's divorce. The mosque is like that. Their offices, even people will not be productive in their place of work. I've told bankers, there was one time I was doing mental awareness in some of the banks here in Tamale. And I was telling them that if you're having issues at home, sometimes you may even want to write 1,000 Ghana cedi. Before you know it, you will add another zero to it.
It's true.
Because your mind is not at rest. So, sir, how can we, make people really seek cancer? That's why we are here. That's one of the beauty of what we are doing here.
Yes.
But it doesn't end here.
Oh, yes, it doesn't end here. The person himself. You see, when you don't see yourself as having a problem, it's difficult seeking solution. Because most often we think that, what is this? But sometimes it's more of he knows more than the counselor would even tell us or tell him or her. So why should he go? I know this person. What can he offer? You get it?
Yeah.
The expertise. But I think that it's high time we put our ego aside and seek for solution of what is worrying us.
In fact,
you see, the counselor, if you are sick and you don't go to the hospital,
you can't be helped.
Nobody will diagnose your problem
At all.
So once you go to the hospital, it's halfway solved. Because definitely there will be a contact.
Step. Then there will be diagnosis. Is it headache? Is it stomach ache? And all that.
And so we need to bear in mind, anybody at all of us, we need to bear in mind that the mere fact that there is a listening ear to what you have may be enough remedy for your problem.
Like I used to encourage and celebrate, because I'm actually registered with the Therapy Route. It's an online counseling where people consult me. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. People messaging from Canada, from US. It's an online counseling. We don't have to. Technology has given us this access that you don't have to sit face to face now before you can do counseling. Maybe our people are not even aware of that.
Yes.
There's what we call online counseling, cyber counseling. It's available. You might be in Takrade, you might be in Teshima, you might be in Kumasi. So a counselor here, that's how Doc is here, I'm here. A lot of us are here. And we also have an association in the northern Ghana, which is Ghana National Association of Certified Counselors, and we have the northern chapter. So reach out for counselors. And anyone that reach out to me from that therapy route, one of the things I do for them first is I actually celebrate them for even seeking help. Because they said a problem shared is even half solved. Even not talking to a counselor at all. Because sharing is also therapeutic.
Yes.
Talking is therapeutic. A lot of people, they are going through issues, but they are dying silently. No one to talk to. And even if they have someone to talk to, they are talking to the wrong people. So viewers, we are encouraging you. If you know someone, maybe your friend, your neighbor, that is withdrawing. Some people, you see, things are eating them up. Before you know it, they are going through social withdrawal. They are not socializing. They are not interacting with people again. Help your friend, help your neighbor by knowing what to do.
Let me give this advice. In terms of the pastors, maybe they are not professional counselors. So my advice is that if it's possible, you can take maybe diploma course or some online refreshing course so that it would be able to increase your knowledge base. Because this thing we are doing is more of knowledge. You seek for it. And so that you can impart. If you don't, you can't impart what you don't have. And so, yes, it is good. God is able to do everything exceedingly and abundantly. But a special skill and technique can help resolve issues. So
and I think I would also use this opportunity to advertise for one of our counseling educationists. They train people. If you're a pastor, if you're an imam, Muslims are there, Christians are there. They call them lay counselors. So if you want to seek knowledge, you can. If you want to go through that training, I think they are going to be having their next batch January, and it's something they also do online. So wherever you are, Because if you're a counselor, you need some of these skills. In case you don't have a certified counselors in your church or in the mosque, you can just pick somebody in the church, pick somebody in the mosque, and let them go for this training, which is going to really help. Okay, let's go back to our question. Okay, what is active listening, and how can we practice it in our marriage?
You see, when we talk about active listening, it's intentional focusing, concentrating on your partner, especially with what he outlines or what he says to you or she says to you, so that you can maximize the necessary inputs and handle whatever issues that thereof. And so if my partner is talking to me and I tell myself that I am an active listener, it means that I should give all the necessary attention.
There's another that says the talking is in the face. Sometimes you are talking to someone and they are pressing the phone or they are doing something. Oh, God.
In fact, you cannot understand that couples may be talking, and you know what, sometimes it's very, very disturbing. You may be talking to the person and he walks away.
That's a sign of disrespect.
Yes. So you see, let the person feel that you are interested in what he's saying. Wow. So sometimes just a response of, oh, is that so? Okay, we will see what to do. That alone is self-fulfilling.
Oh, I'm not just talking to the head.
Yes.
Okay, so let me ask, how can we improve our communication skills to prevent misunderstanding and conflict? How can we improve it?
As for communication, one, you need to understand who you are dealing with, especially his emotional patterns. Are you okay? You don't need to say anything anyhow. Because when it comes like that, the person takes offense. So do you really know the person you are talking to? Talk to him in a manner that can be decorum. That's one aspect of it. Decorum, respect, and always whatever you say, ask yourself, if they tell me, will I be happy? And that is what we normally feel about it.
And I think women do that a lot. Maybe it's because of the pressure or the stress on us.
Of course. All these things are part. It fuels what we call conflict. Pressure, emotion, and then the some of the women are loaded with works.
With works,
so
exactly.
That can sometimes make them bitter, unnecessary bitterness.
I know. And especially if their partners are not really helping out in some of those things. It can, even if they are not helping, at least they could get some help around their partner.
These are responsibilities. Are you okay? We need to take it up. But for now, in terms of the communication, all what we need to understand is that be circumspect. Let it be mutual. Are you okay? Whatever you say, you see, when you are talking to somebody and there is no response, it becomes a different thing altogether. So sometimes you can cultivate a habit of asking questions that can give response back.
So we call it open-ended questions. You don't like to ask a questions. How are you? That you are just saying fine. No, you want to ask a question that even if he doesn't want to talk, he will be forced
to say something. Open-ended question.
He will be forced
it. You need to give your own answer. Yes. All because we want you to say something
exactly
to enrich the communication.
Yes. And the body language, the tone, and everything too is
you need to calm down your tone.
Hey.
Sometimes, you see, all these things I say that the way and manner you may speak, it make your friend become offensive. Because some of the talkings are so harsh. It doesn't encourage peace. And so if you are found of doing that, you know that you are causing havoc to your partner. Sometimes you may have a partner who is so reserved and may not be talking, but sometimes it may be dying within.
Wow.
So communication can let somebody die within.
Hey.
in marriage.
God help us.
Oh yes.
Wow. So we have to be intentional about it.
Intentional, that's the word I used. Intentional. I'm doing this to ensure that there is what we call amicable communication.
Mutuality.
Mutual.
Oh, wow.
That's what you need to do.
Wow.
So that there's mutual understanding, respect.
So viewers out there, if you've been talking to your spouse, hey, basa,
that one you can feel it.
It's time for us to all repent and, begin to be intentional, pick our words, and sometimes when you see that, oh, you have even gone out of box, just be humble enough to say sorry, and so that you can move on. Thank you so much. So what are some non-verbal communication skills that can help us resolve conflicts more effectively?
Yeah, with the non-verbal communication, as I said, one of it is sometimes it's attitudinal. Attitudinal. The way the person may even make the face to you when you are talking to the person, you would just get the impression that this person is not interested in what I'm saying. So why do you put up an awkward attitude that will cause your marriage? It is something that we need to look at. Again, another one, nonverbal, talking to you and you move away.
Move away. Wow.
What does it tell? Very crucial, we need to look at all these things. We should be so particular about our actions. Because we say actions speak louder than voice.
Good.
And if actions speak louder than voice, what action are you putting across?
Wow.
Which makes it in such a way that you are not talking, but you are communicating. What are these? Even the body, the way you will stand. Sometimes somebody would be talking to you, you cross your leg, you fold your hand, you cross it like this, you fold it. This should tell you that
he's not interested in what you're saying.
And there's confusion. He has gotten his communication and he's communicating. Wow. I'm not interested. You see, the action, holding your hands to somebody who is talking.
It's very important.
And crossing your legs,
body
it becomes
language.
A problem.
Eye contact too. Someone is talking to you, you're not even looking at the person's face. You're not even relaxed. You're just fidgeting, fighting here and there. It's so problematic.
Very
So we are saying that we need to practice calm and gentle tone of voice. I think we have said this once on this show. I think it's that high time we'll begin to look into that. And it's not just what we know, but it is what we do with what we know. Some of us, we know too much. In fact, I'm presently reading a book, and the man was saying that even some people, they'll go to marriage seminar, which some even don't even go at all. Even some that after attending, they will still come back and do the same old thing that they are doing. So that's where the place of wisdom and understanding comes in place. Now, what are the actions? What are the steps you want to take with what you have learned? So that's why I say you don't trust your brain too much. Always note and write things down when you come to this show. Doc has said so many things. I have also said so many things. So write down so that you could also go back, reflect, think about it, and always consult your book. Because the brain can be carrying so many things that can make some vital information to slip off our mind. So that's why we always advise anytime on Saturday with Timeout Counsellor Debby, is that time you pick your pen and your notes, your iPad, your phones to note vital things. Also, when we are talking about communication, even holding each other's hands.
Holding yourself, hugging. It's very important.
In fact,
it
helps to diffuse tension
verbal.
And promote a sense of connection and intimacy.
It's non-verbal, but that affection comes.
It comes.
You have not told you I love you, but the mere fact you hold the person really signifies that there is what we call affection. Holding their hands. Sometimes there are problems, there are situations in marriages, and all what we need to, the moment you hold the person's hand, it gets some resolve.
In fact, some people, as bad as headache is, sometimes you might be so tensed, you are so pressured. But when your partner just hugs you, do you know it's therapeutic? Okay, you can go to the internet and learn it and read it. When you hug your partner, it's so therapeutic. And there's something I used to tell couples we call it eye gazing. Sometimes just have to stand before each other, watch each other's face into the eyeballs.
Straight,
it's very, very, very
Now,
good.
you made a remarkable statement before I come to maybe the steps. You made a remarkable statement that we think we know too much. That is typical of man, the nature, especially when the person maybe sees himself as being an authority or something like that. I don't know who may have given that authority. But that can be a recipe for conflict in marriage. You know, there are people who think that they are more right than getting solution, than looking at the solution. So it is not about preferring solution to the problem.
They always want
but
to win the argument.
I am right.
So sometimes they say when you win the arguments and you lose your...
That's why we have something called win-win and then lose it. Maybe we will talk about the issue is the steps that can help us.
Okay.
I always believe in Abrahamic approach in handling conflict. It has always been part of me.
Okay.
And this approach is biblical. It's biblical. Now, you remember a time came, Abraham and his brother Lot. There was a misunderstanding because the heads, those who cater for the cattle of Lot and those who cater for cattle of Abraham, they had misunderstanding.
That's right.
There was a conflict.
That's right.
And when that conflict came, they reported to their masters. But the question is, when conflict is unattended to, it becomes different thing altogether. Look at how Abraham, before I come to what I prescribed, what Abraham did. The moment he saw that there is a misunderstanding, do you know what he did? He called for a meeting with his brother. Dialogue. He called for a meeting. And you know what that means? What is happening? If I don't put my feet down, if I don't prescribe what we call early intervention, it will escalate.
Early intervention.
Early intervention.
Wow.
It will escalate. So quickly, he called his brother. Now, when he called his brother and there was a meeting, you know what? There is something called bigger picture. In counseling, you need to identify that bigger picture to the client or to the couples. Bigger picture. So what Abraham did was to create that bigger picture. You can create it, you can look at them and then bring it up. And what is that bigger picture? Look at Abraham's own. He told it, we are families. Me and you, we are what?
We are
families. That's a bigger picture. Let's look at that.
The bigger picture.
The bigger picture. We are family. As for them, we have rented them, or maybe they are servants.
They are passengers. They will come and go.
But between us, if we follow what is happening, we may escalate into different things altogether. Conflict will come. But then, let's look at that bigger picture as family.
Families.
Whenever you bring out the bigger picture, it doesn't end there. Because if you don't prefer solution, the bigger picture might not be sustained. So Abraham did this. He said, my brother, look at this land. There is some here, some here. What do? Choose the one you want.
Wow. As a man
provide
of
solution.
As a man of...
So that is the solution you prefer to them. You provide for them to choose. And so Lord chose, he said, the Bible said, they were the milkers. He chose it. And when he chose it, he was so happy. There was solution. Are you okay?
Yes.
And that is what I think that in resolving conflict, preferring steps, one of the major things is for us to look at early intervention, where we can quickly call for a meeting. If it's between your spouse, why don't you call your spouse? Call your spouse. Let's talk about it. This is the issue. Okay, this issue, how can we handle it? And when we begin to talk about it, then of course, it doesn't end there. what is so particular, what is so valuable in our midst, in our existence. Some of the family, maybe their children. You can't afford to lose your children. Are you okay? You can't afford to lose your children when you go on tangent of conflict where there can be divorce. You cannot. So it becomes a bigger picture.
A bigger picture.
Some of them, yes, some of them, it is what we call couple vision statements. Maybe with time we'll come and talk about couple vision statements.
That will be coming again and again.
We'll talk about the family, the couple must have a vision. That might come in the form of a statement. So you can have a couple who have established what we call counseling units together. So anytime they see the achievement, what they have done together, and because of that, they can't afford to depart.
Wow.
So we, the couples that we find ourselves in that marriage, and there's conflict, what do you look at for? What is the bigger picture? Just look at that. Look at that bigger picture, and act accordingly. And again, if we look at the bigger picture, what must bring us together, what we should look up to, the target, then we need to prefer solution.
And once a bigger picture in couple A is different from couple B. So you don't look at another couple's bigger picture. Some, it might be the business that they have started together. Some, it might be, oh, we are doing God's work together. Oh, so it varies. I think
it's different. That is why in marriages, no, you cannot prefer one solution to all conflict. There are so many. Specifically, you attend to them. You attend to them. And so that bigger picture, when it's created, then the preferred solution. The solution may be maybe your husband or your wife. That's not, even when you are talking active listening, he is one of that. He doesn't pay attention. He doesn't care of what you are doing. He uses a non-verbal communication, sometimes become insulting. How do you handle it? You just give him the proper manners in terms of active listening. Oh, you know what? Sometimes we ourselves, when we talk, it's like we don't concentrate with ourselves.
Exactly.
So can we talk and have that mutual respect to ourselves? You don't take yourself out, and that's one of the solutions.
Yes.
You get it. You validate what
you think together.
Yes, you validate. Sometimes the behavior is awkward. Are you okay? But you can validate it in such a way that it will work for your good. Are you okay? Yes. Yeah. So if the person is maybe trying to be so petty, are you okay? Then you may say that, I understand your situation. It's pettiness. You may understand the situation. That let's go through it by this way and see. So solution, sometimes it may be their finance. What can you do? Is there no budget line you can prescribe for them? So that everybody knows that we are spending according to this line. For there to be what we call an amicable solution. Are you okay? So all these things help us for us to be able to unravel, solve our conflict. Sometimes we can manage it. Sometimes we can manage it. And when it comes to, that is why I will still dwell on the peacemakers and then the peace dwellers. It's very important. It's very important because if you identify who the peacemaker is and in every marriage, let me put it clear, in every marriage, there is a peacemaker and there is a peace dweller. And this peacemaker and peace dweller comes from your traits. Whether you are sanguine, you are choleric, melancholic, or the phlegmatic, they come from that trait. That is why, as counselors, we are very careful. Sometimes we say that if you are too choleric, it's advisable you don't marry, because your characters are the same. So if I am go-getter, you two are go-getter, we all move out. Nobody is there to resolve issues. So in that sense, if you are a peacemaker, know that your nature, you cannot sit unconcerned. You are uncomfortable when there is issues in the marriage. This should tell you that you are a peacemaker. So always forge ahead. Go and talk about it.
it.
No,
Okay.
darling, this thing cannot move on.
Wow, thank you so much, Doc. Yeah, there's so much to learn today. Yeah, and I think we need as couples to also make a timeout. Yeah, this time with Counsellor Debby, and we're advocating that
Of course, of course.
let there be some break. Sometimes it could also be the environment that you are in that is not even giving you a conducive atmosphere for communication. That's why I encourage couples. It won't take you anything. So even if it's 20 Ghana cedi, just buy bottled water. Just go to a restaurant, sit down together and talk. You know, I think the house atmosphere sometimes is always kind of when there's a lot of pressures here and there.
The atmosphere itself is frightening sometimes.
So let's take time out.
Tension. There,
yeah, exactly.
So you can take
so
time
let's
out.
put it in our itinerary. Oh, is it going to be every last Saturday or every first Friday? Let's just go somewhere. It could just be as simple as taking a walk. Even it could be exercising together. So sometimes some of these things, it doesn't entail money, depending on how we can look at it. So you just have to let go of whatever hurts you, whatever thing that you feel, oh, you are not comfortable with. I think it demands that you share, because sometimes you are hurting and your partner doesn't even know what is what you are actually going through. So communicating and sharing your feelings is very, very important.
You're right. If you don't communicate, maybe your partner may not know what is wrong with you.
They may not know. So it's very important.
So open up.
Yeah, open up. That's the word.
You need to open up. Discuss about it. You prefer solutions. You give solutions.
Collaborate, problem solving.
Mutual understanding.
Yeah, when partners work together to find the mutually beneficial solution, it's for the advantage of the union.
And somebody may ask, okay, if you are proposing and the person is not accepting,
hey, another
what
one.
happened?
Okay, so maybe before then you can wrap it with this one. What is the difference? I think we came across it in our question that time. We were talking about what is the difference between a win-win and a lose-lose approach to conflict resolution.
Yeah, this where the terms are very important. When we say win-win, what that means is that the couple come together and provide common solution to their challenge or problem. That is a win-win thing. And so it's like if it's about finance in the marriage, the problem is about finance. They sit down now, decide that, okay, with what is happening, I think let there be some budget line. Let's draw it so that when there are expenses or when there are no expenses, we know where, or when there is expenses or when there is no money, we know how to apportion them, drive them. Okay, and that will be a win-win situation. You, the two, come together and then provide solution for the challenges that's at stake. But when it is a lose-lose, that one they sit unconcerned. Oh, they don't care what is going on. Silent. You see the house, anything that happens, it will resolve by itself. Then we leave it. And when you begin to do that, what happens is that the problem does not get resolved. The conflict does not get resolved, because conflict does not resolve by itself. It needs some action and input, energy to get it resolved. And so these are the things that we need to look at them very well as couples. Of course, if you don't understand the issue of the part you should play in marriage, it becomes problematic. Now, I, for one, though literally we accept as win-win, but sometimes win-win becomes problematic. Yes, because the person sees it as I've contributed part, you to contribute part, and he sees it as win-win. Nobody is suffering the very suffering in the marriage, or nobody is sacrificing entirely. You sacrifice part, I sacrifice. People see it as win-win, and in that sense, when it becomes the notion in marriage, or yes, as couples, you know what that means? You are doing mathematics 50-50. But of course, when we understand marriage in this perspective that it is 100% sacrificial. 100% sacrificial. And once we know that it's 100% sacrificial, that is when even my partner wrongs me, the one that has been wronged, I rather go and say that let bygones be bygones. You are forgiven. Let's move on. Don't worry yourself. I think that we can do better when we move along.
Okay, I think we have Mordecai asking a question, and he said he wants to know whose decision is to be accepted among the couples, and which of them decides, decision should be implemented. That's a question.
Everything must be borne by you two. Whose decision? We don't have win-win situation here. The win-win, I mean, you don't say that once you have done this, I should also do this. Who is coming with the decision? Is it to the benefit of all of us? Then let there be a compromise. Let all of us understand what we are doing. Then if it's coming from it, doesn't matter. You see, the Bible says something. The two shall become one. And you cannot fight against yourself. Yes, you can. Have you ever seen you yourself fighting against beating yourself? No. So if we understand a marriage in that perspective, that the two has become one biblically, then we don't fight ourselves. Because we are one. We don't fight ourselves. And that is why decision that comes into marriage should be borne by the couple. It's the couple's decision, not an individual decision.
So no one is lesser than one another.
No. Nobody said one is lesser than the other. All what God wants us to understand is that you are doing what we call, you will support the man. Man, you will be the head. And for that matter, the roles has been given. So I just want to say that, the name is what? Mordecai. We don't have a decision attributed to you. The moment it becomes I, there's a problem. But if it becomes, we think, we have decided we want to do it this way, even though the decision came from you, but it has been what we call, it has been taken over by the couple and implementing it. So the decisions are implemented by the couple. Even if you implement it, you are implement on behalf of the marriage.
The marriage, good. Okay, and our time is fast, but we have just 3 minutes left. So I think we would like to ask this last question. How can we develop greater emotional intelligence and self-awareness to better manage our emotions and behavior during conflicts?
Wow, this is a great question.
Very great one.
And this is what is killing marriages and bringing a whole lot of conflict in marriages. Now, let me just say that in marriage, there are 3 things that sustain marriage. We talk about it. 1 cannot work, 2 cannot work unless all the 3. Spiritual is spiritual. We can't take it away
at all, because it's God ordained.
Yes. And sometimes the person you are going to marry, you don't know the antecedent, where the family is, what they have gone, generational care, whatsoever. You need to be prayerful.
Wow.
And the prayer is not even one time when you want the person to come in as your wife. Even when it comes in, it continues throughout till God calls you, each one of you. And it's very important we need to look at it. Prayer answers all things. We need to understand that. Then the second one is physical. You see, you need to pay for your bills.
Hey, that's so paramount. And our nations are smiling these days.
Yes, you need to pay for your bills. There are physical things in marriage. Sometimes if you don't like something, you don't go for it. Are you okay?
Yes.
Maybe you are particular about maybe the looks or whatsoever, and you don't go for that, you may have a problem. So physically we look at it, but physical alone cannot resolve marriage or cannot sustain that marriage. And it can also bring conflict, because we have some people whose wives are very beautiful, they have money, they are still,
there's still no peace.
So that cannot resolve. The last thing that has to do with the question you've asked, psychological.
So spiritual, physical, and psychological. Noted, viewers.
Very, very important. So when we talk about this issue of what we call what do you call intelligence, emotional intelligence. It simply tells us that the very emotion that is erupting from the differences we have. Are you okay? Because I've said it that the trait we have 4 of them. The four of them, and this emotional intelligence means that you have adopted a means of handling all the excesses that will come, the differences. And for that matter, it's all about studying your partner, knowing who he is. And so when he's exhibiting any emotional challenges, you are able to handle it because you know the person.
Thank you so much, Doc. So we are wrapping up with this. You can also rebuild and strengthen our relationship after conflict. That's why we say conflict resolution.
Yes.
So in case there has been conflict, and these are some of the things you can do to rebuild and strengthen your relationship after a conflict: practice forgiveness and letting go of grudges. Make amends and repair any damage caused by the conflict, and cultivate a culture of appreciation, gratitude, and positive reinforcement to promote healing and growth. So it's very important. And additionally, also do regular check-in and conflict resolution sessions, just like Doc said, to prevent conflict from escalating and to promote ongoing growth and development in our relationship. Thank you, viewers, for joining us again and again today. Doc, there's a supermarket just around us at Nobisco Junction that giving a voucher to our guests. And it's just a token. We present this to you. It's so small, but with love. Essential Bazaar is just at the Nobisco Junction beside Woodin. We'd like you to just go there and just pick some few things. Thank you so much for coming again. We appreciate your last word.
Let me also thank you for this. It's very appreciative, and I don't take it lightly.
Thank you, sir.
For what you've done. But I just want to say that marriage has so many issues. And in terms of conflict, you cannot eliminate them. It can come.
Yes.
But then you need to adapt what we call some managerial skills. And then have some resolutional skills. And for that matter, it's all about looking at how you can early intervene.
Early intervention. It's very important.
It's all about you, as much as possible, identify the roles. Whether are you the peacemaker or the peace dweller.
Thank you so
if
much.
you know that, you'll be able to handle it. And above all, let's look at the bigger picture.
Yes,
and that bigger picture, whenever we prefer solution, is still there for us to see. And I know that once we become prayerful, God will help us. We have knowledge, we practice what we do, and the prayer will just fortify it, and we move ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, obvious out there. It's been an insightful session today. Thank you for always looking up. Same time, same station. ZAR TV is where to welcome every Saturday morning, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Always tell your friends, your colleagues. Thank you for tuning in today. I remain your very host, Counsellor Debby. Thank you for all that you have done. I can see a lot of comments. We'll be sure getting back to you. So happy weekend. Enjoy your weekend. Take out time to talk to your spouse and make out time to amend any conflict that might be eating you up. And advise that your union, your marriage will be so peaceful. God bless you. Bye.
Thank you.
Every Saturday, 8 a.m. For adverts and sponsorship, please contact 026 381 6967. Thank you. Hello everyone. Relationships can be a journey of ups and downs, twists and turns,